wie ich gesagt habe, wir dachten, also wie wir die Amerikaner kennen, sie mögen es sehr rockig und hart und heavy.
They like it hard and heavy and real rocky.
So haben wir von eben links ausgesucht, weil wir dachten, es geht am meisten nach vorne
We
los.
thought that was really the sound the Americans like to hear.
All 6 members of Rammstein grew up in what was then the GDR, or German Democratic Republic. That's East Germany, the half that was claimed by the Russians in the name of international communism when the nation was divided up following the Second World War. There they were comparatively isolated from any musical developments in the West. All that filtered through was the mainstream 60s rock of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and later the heavy and progressive college bands of the 70s, like Deep Purple and Pink Floyd. But under communism, rock music was censored and frowned upon, strictly controlled and, in many cases, banned outright. Ironically, the 1970s was a decade when German experimental rock music gained a credible reputation in Britain, America and elsewhere for the first time. Bands like Can, Neu, Tangerine Dream and Faust were lumped together under the faintly patronising banner of krautrock. What they had in common was their desire to forge a uniquely European, even Germanic take on rock music and psychedelia, utilising heavy riffs and hypnotic drones to create a monotonous, pulsing, rhythm-based music that drew equally on jazz and the classical avant-garde. One of the most successful bands to emerge from this era was Kraftwerk, who gradually developed their own machine music sound, dispensing with organic instruments altogether in favour of drum machines and synthesizers. This radical new approach was coupled with minimal, sparsely melodic pop hooks, a dry sense of humour and a cold, disciplined scientific image at odds with the hairy hippie freakouts of their krautrock predecessors and contemporaries. With hits like Autobahn, The Robots and The Model, they created an icily yearning, driving sound that came to be known as Motorik, perfect for driving through the endless grey concrete landscape of Eastern Europe. This was the sound that was to inspire David Bowie's 1975 LP Station to Station, the album that introduced the Thin White Duke as Bowie's latest alter ego, an absurdly alienated quasi-fascist romantic throwing darts in lovers' eyes. For the follow-up, Bowie had actually relocated to Berlin to create what was to become a trilogy of acclaimed mid-70s albums, Low, Heroes and Lodger. Recorded at Hansa Studios in the shadow of the Berlin Wall with producer Brian Eno, their edgy, unnerving white funk workouts, bleak, windswept instrumentals and vast, desperate anthems full of space and light were to be among Bowie's most influential creations. In the mid-80s, bands as diverse as Depeche Mode and Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds also moved to Berlin, their common ground being an obsession with darkness and deviancy. Depeche Mode in particular were to be a huge influence on European music in the coming decade, drawing as they did on Kraftwerk's synthesizer heritage, fusing it increasingly with heavy rock and Bowie's fraught existential anthems. While all this may be seen to be naturally paving the ground for the emergence of Rammstein, its future members were at the same time entirely unaware of these developments. Vocalist Till Lindemann was born in Leipzig on the 4th of January 1963, the eldest member of the band. Guitarist Paul Landers, drummer Christoph Schneider and keyboard player Christian Lorenz were all born in Berlin in 1966, while guitarist Richard Z. Crucible was born in Wittenberg in 1967. The youngest, bass player Oliver Riedel, came into the world on the 11th of April 1971 in Schwerin. All were trapped in the political system they'd been brought into, one where the books you could read, the films you could see, and the music you could hear were all strictly controlled. Yet all had one thing in common, the desire to make music. Lindemann, Crucible and Riedel all gravitated to East Berlin, which was relatively cosmopolitan and the most open to Western influences. All 6 worked in very